drown in the dust. The land of the sand one's a prize on your hand. Hold tight, don't lose your way, chasing for the glory to the end. Don't run, be the one, bring all your dreams to the glorious kingdom. Are you hearing the voice of Seth call your name? Lost in the storm, hold your face and sword. Go fight a secret eye when this war will rise up higher. Reach for the sky, hold on to your weapons with pride. We rise up higher, conquer the ark, get ready to fight for your life. We rise up, climb on, choose the highest ground of the pyramid of life. Let the spirit get you high, 'cause we are the kings, we are the queens. We will rise up to the top. Stand up, don't draw in the dust. The land of the sand knows the answer in your head. Hold tight, it's worth the try, chasing for the glory in the fight. Don't run, you're the one, bring all your dreams to the glorious kingdom. Are you hearing the voice of Seth call your name? Lost in the storm, hold your face and sword. Go fight a secret eye when this war will rise up higher. Reach for the sky, hold on to your weapons with pride. We rise up higher, conquer the ark, get ready to fight for your life. We rise up, climb on, choose the highest ground of the pyramid of life. Let the spirit get you high, 'cause we are the kings, we are the queens. We will rise up to the top. Even when you fall, sticks and stones may break your bones, but you are stronger than the heaviest waves. The earthquake won't shake you, 'cause you are the king, you are the queen, you are the truth of the land. You rise up higher, reach for the sky, hold on to your weapons with pride. You rise up higher, conquer the ark, get ready to fight for your life. You rise up, climb to the highest ground of the pyramid of life. Let the spirit get you high, 'cause you are the king, you are the queen. You will rise up to the top.
A grandiose battle is coming. We've all been waiting for this battle to happen. But mostly, the god of the dead, Osiris. The 32 division champions of each realm have progressed to the playoffs, but only one will be crowned champion. The Grand Trophy is awarded to the strongest in the Hall of Fame. But who is worthy now? Are you strong enough to become a champion? Prove it. Overwhelm your enemies. Show off your skills. And be everyone's bet. Let the fight begin.
What What is going on, governors? Chiscool here, and today we've got the 15 UTC matchup for the Final Four in the Ark of Osiris League. Earlier today, we watched JST versus Song. JST emerging victorious, capping all three arcs, and now UCS versus OneV to determine who will go to the finals. Now, in UCS, we've got a team that's made it pretty far in every season of Ark of Osiris League, and this time around, they've spruced themselves up and had commanding victories over every team they've fought until they faced K374. That was a close one. So will this matchup against OneV be close? I'll say that OneV and JST were the top two teams in the Korean Osiris League. So what will happen here? UCS versus OneV. Joining me to cast in the festivities today is none other than Dragothian. Hey there, my friend. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, especially after that first match we got to cast together about 2 hours ago or so. What a match that was. By the end, it looked to be a pretty one-sided affair, but while we were watching and casting and trying to figure out what was going on, it was a blast to watch. And I got to tell you, this one is shaping up to be just as good, if not better. Like you said, UCS, perennial contender in these Osiris League playoffs. But I got to tell you, this season, they have never looked better. I'm looking to see if they can knock down one of the favorites of this season, OneV, being again in the Korean playoffs. I know that it's not necessarily everything, but it certainly can't hurt. I know these teams that are here at this point in the playoffs, they have all practiced over and over and over, almost forever, you would think, to the point where that's why they're here. So looking forward to seeing these guys really shape up a quality matchup for us to take a peek at. Looking forward to casting it with you, Chisco.
Yeah. At 5.167 billion power, UCS is the highest power contender remaining. Now, power doesn't really matter at this stage of the game, and even JST popped healing speed-ups to make their way through 12 million troops that they healed. So I think that power is probably not a factor when we look at OneV. They've got 4.47 billion. So yeah, this is a pretty closely matched battle here, and OneV hailing from Kingdom 1034, UCS hailing from Kingdom 2. I mean, do you think it's a coincidence, Dragothian, that these are such old kingdoms that have made it so far?
It's part of the system, right? So we got 4 realms. But that being said, I will say that some of the folks that are in some of the later realms, which we'll obviously take a peek at some point here, we will definitely be seeing that some of them are from the earlier kingdoms too. So I think that experience alongside of strategy, which is obviously built off of experience, does weigh heavily in these final matches.
Yeah, I have to say, experience is almost certainly the best teacher in Ark of Osiris League. And so now we'll see if these experiences that these two teams have accumulated, UCS over the course of many Osiris Leagues, OneV having done extremely well in the Korean Osiris League, now are going to do battle. In just 1 minute, this thing is going to fire up. And I have to say, based on the community sentiment, where people were placing their Oryx, OneV was very heavily favored. Do you think the community sentiment there is on target, Dragothian?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I think they need to prove something today. I mean, they've proved something, obviously, getting here to this point. It's farther than they've ever been. But OneV, consistently winning their matches. UCS consistently winning their matches this week. But again, like you said, K374 put them through the ringer. Their hardest match to date. I think that to really take UCS as a proper contender, they've got to beat OneV. I think that beating one of these really late game positive favorites for the title, I think that's going to put them into the next level.
Okay, well, the matchup should be starting momentarily. Are you ready to enter? into
I
the
couldn't
battlefield here?
be more ready. Let's go.
Okay. We'll see you in the battlefield in just a moment. Here we go, everybody. In blue, UCS from Kingdom 2, hailing at 5.1 billion power. I believe they are the highest power contender in the league, but power is not the whole story. In red, we've got OneV at 4.4 billion power. This Korean Osiris team looking to crush it in the realm of Horus. Top contenders for UCS, 11,844 provision score. That is crazy. For OneV, 8,240 provision score. A kill score of 155,000 is pretty impressive. Top tier players on top tier teams. Dragothian, I'll ask you, what do you think is going to define the matchup today? Do you think it's going to be arcs? Do you think it's going to be structures? What's it going to be?
You know, UCS, and again, just kind of evolving strategies, right? I think that they've evolved their strategy into being a structure heavy but dominant middle team. I think that's the meta right now, and it has been the meta for a while, but doing it as effectively as all of these teams in the playoffs are now doing it, man, you've got to be on your game. So we're going to be looking for execution on both sides. I think 1V and UCS are both capable of doing it, but I think the matches are going to be, as they have been for the past ever, really, decided in the middle. Where's the arcs going to go? Where are they going to be calling home? Is it going to be on the blue team? Is it going to be on the red team? I'm really excited to see which one. You know, I'm thinking 1V is really looking to bank a few of these arcs on the red side, on the bottom there, and then UCS, they're going to try and stop them. I think that the arc is going to really be the determining factor of this match.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think the ability to take and hold structures, that's the price of entry for this tier of play, as these teams are going to be battling for what you see on your screen right now. Their name as the Season 4 champions. They're going to have to win here and the next matchup. Which team is going to be? Drop it into the chat. Don't spam it, but drop it in the chat who you think it's going to be. 2, 1, let's go, baby. How many rallies do you think we're going to see at the start, Dragothian? 12?
I didn't think 12.
Whoa!
12 was not my number.
I believe that the meme, all the things, applies here. In this case, rally all the things.
Yeah. Well, how many structures are there? Let's see. I didn't think I had to count how many physical structures there are. There's 18 structures, by the way, 13 of them being currently rallied. I mean, what do you do with that?
Yeah, that's going to be really spicy. So what are these teams rallying? They're rallying the opposing side outposts. So early aggression on the opposing outposts is going to be interesting. Dragothian, you've commented in the past about how there is a little bit of a disadvantage there. The maximum capacity of one of these structures is only 500,000. So with an army expansion, you can have 310,000. One of those marches is a little bit shortchanged, but it sounds like both teams are just on board with that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, there's a value, even though it is a lower troop count. It's starting to become a little bit more commonplace to rally these outposts, and it's not necessarily to take it, although of course it's nice to do, but it's really just to, again, create diversion, create distraction. If I'm over here doing stuff to your structures, if you don't want me to be doing that, you've got to come over here too, and that's part of it. I mean, UCS taking their obelisk very quickly, by the way, both sides using hard push. I saw both of those pop, so that was nice. Again, I mean, taking these outposts, right? You usually just take them and then you move on to the next structure if you're the team that's supposed to own those outposts, but now you've got to account for those. It's not just go buy, tap, and then move forward. It's go buy, tap, and maybe have to defend.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting to see the aggression at the start on the outposts. We'll keep an eye on those to see if those actually do change hands, if they end up being garrisoned, defended. But those rallies now making their way across the screen. Cavalry is one. Infantry is another. Wait a second. Uh-oh. Trouble in Paradise. I'm looking at cavalry and infantry in a Guan rally, but maybe, Dragothian, that rally was never designed to get to the enemy side of the battlefield anyways. Maybe that rally is designed to just stop at the Shrine of War.
Yeah, it's very possible. Just throw all your stuff in this one rally. We'll get it across the map, and you be you. You do you. And I think that that's probably exactly we're looking at here. We've got infantry and cav in that rally, and that's probably going to break right at the desert altar. And there's going to be a skirmish there, as there always is at the beginning of these matches. Desert altars being worth 750 first occupation points. That's a big chunk of points, people. We need those if you're wanting to win this matchup between two heavyweight alliances.
UCS, big aggressions in the bottom lane here. I don't know if they're going to take this altar. I think they're going to break here and take the altar. There's the 1V rally passing by. Infantry. Cavalry is the choice for UCS. Are they just going to take it to the obelisk?
They're just keeping on going. You know, why not keeping on? Not a whole lot of presence over here on the bottom lane because, again, it is the farthest away point for 1V. I'm sure the rally has already arrived, which definitely it has, but more reinforcements coming up from the south does 1V have right there. So
Canceled.
Likely up there goes broke. They just broke it.
They broke it, but I saw Jadwiga in the mix, heading over to the Shrine of Life. Look at this. 1V outmatched over here. 1 march for 1V. 2, 3, 4. Okay, they're on their way. 1V knows they got to get over there, but I don't know if they're going to get there fast enough. Only 1 minute left.
Let's see if 1504, who just poured it in around that obelisk, is going to be able to throw some decent troops there, because all I see is a double C-led march there going towards the Shrine of Life. I see an XY coming over as well from Strata on the 1V side. We've got 40 seconds left. There's plenty of time for marches to get around these structures. All the people have poured it in. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cities around the obelisk here on the bottom lane. There's plenty of people here to go ahead and make some moves. 8, by the way, on the top lane have poured it in.
All right, we turned off the simplify graphics. I knew chat was going to want to see simplify graphics off. Full fireworks, baby. 20 seconds.
Full throttle. Let's go.
Yeah, 20 seconds until the altars can be captured. Watch the colors on the map. We can expand the map here. Who's going to get those? 2, 1. And who gets the first grab?
Yep.
Wow. 1V sneaking into the UCS altar. Nobody taking. There we go. Nobody taking the UCS Shrine of War. And there we go. Shrine of Life. Okay. Little delay.
Look at the outside lanes.
You know, this is what happens when you use carrier pigeon to alert your ARC team members that they need to capture.
There's only 15 people around that altar. We just need to stare at it, and it eventually will turn blue. Speaking of blue, losing that sky altar on the top lane, going back in favor of 1V, that double C-led garrison, not the right choice, obviously. They took it for just a second, but unless you're able to back it up and hold it, that may be a waste of troops on the top side for UCS. Artemisia, Nebu, and Guan all just kind of sitting there and taking it. 1V swarming that Guan march down on the top lane. And I know we're staring at the desert altar here as well. Huge fights. 1V looking very solid, pushing this area.
Very strong. I mean, 1V has an uncontestable presence at the desert altar. I think we're looking at first capture points, which you smartly pointed out are very important. 750 of them are almost certainly going to go. Let me say that differently. They are going to go to 1V here for sure. No question.
I'm seeing a difference in strategies here. So UCS, really, you could tell at the very beginning, they went heavy on the outside lanes, trying to bank on the fact that 1V was going to go heavy on the inside lanes, both defending their own desert altar and aggressing the UCS side desert altar on the top lane. And you can see how that strategy is playing out. 1V dominating the inside altar
for UCS. I mean, this is structure dominance for 1V. They've even got a Zenobia fighting in the field over here.
They've got extras.
Yeah, that's right. Wow. Okay, and now 1V saying, cool, thanks for the altar. I'll make my way to the middle. UCS on their way to the middle.
That's what they're going to do, watch. All in swarm. Here it is.
Now, there is the signature UCS anti-swarm technology using Osiris paired with Nebu, which I honestly kind of love it. Not going to lie. I do kind of love it.
It's definitely going to help. Now, when it's moving, it's not some of that anti-swarm technology is not really getting activated because a lot of it's skill based. But I will say too, looking at this Osiris March is going down very quickly. I'm loving, by the way, the Tamiris usage on 1V. We don't really see. There's the green arrows there. We don't really see Tamiris being used very often, and I think that's a huge mistake. I haven't seen very many sets of green arrows popping out when we're seeing these big major fights, and I think that's a huge mistake, especially pairing up not only that Trajan with the Trajan marches, but also some Mulans. I'd love to see the combination of the Trajans, the Mulans, and the Tamirises when we're talking about those big open field swarms.
Yeah, I mean, UCS cannot even get close enough to their structure to properly swarm it right now.
They definitely have the points, by the way. It's already in favor of 1V. They took those 750 points. Now they're just banking the 150 points per minute.
So if we look to the battle we saw earlier, I'll say it this way. If we look at the battle we saw earlier and how we think that Song might have been distracted by taking back their structures rather than going to the middle, what should UCS do? Go to the middle or take their structure?
Well, I'm sure they've got people assigned to have that structure, the Desert Altar. Eventually, with a rally and proper swarm, the people that are supposed to own that structure will eventually take it back. Now, again, every minute they've got. I mean, this isn't just a recently taken structure. It's counting points for 1V. UCS
since
has
the start,
to get this back.
Since the very start. Yeah, I mean, huge point deficit at the start, half an arc worth of points in favor of 1V from that one maneuver. Well executed.
Well, we said it was going to come down to execution in the middle fight. Right now, 1V winning on the execution side 100%. And looking at the middle here, I mean, UCS had a little bit of an advantage here maybe 15 seconds ago, but now 1V is starting to pour their troops in, and UCS also doing the same.
I like UCS odds here. UCS has a lot of people here. A lot of people here. Look, they're moving. The shark is swimming, baby. Yeah, and look at that. 1V is like, oh, okay, I'll back up a little. They know they're outnumbered here.
They're still consolidating. I think 1V might want to try and take this fight. Just don't move. Get your nice tight murder ball. Let UCS come forward. You don't have the positioning right now. Just sit tight. Let more of your marches come in. They're still pouring in from the middle. On the top lane there, coming around that mountain corner. There's one or two coming from the south as well. However, again, like you said, UCS has the majority and is still, if you look behind, there's another 25, 30 marches coming behind this. UCS wants and really needs this arc to get back into the match.
I love this play, baby. I love this play. This is going to be big. This arc fight, I mean, we got to watch the middle. We can't take our eyes off the middle. This sets the whole pace of the rest of the match right here, right now, 1 minute and 35 seconds until the arc spawns. And there's the break. UCS on their way in. Now, I have to say that's not a very clean engage. That's a pretty messy engage. A third of the team is fighting. 2/3 of the team is making their way over.
Walking. Yep.
That's a really messy engage. That's really awkward for them.
1V wanted that to happen. They're all stationary, which means that they're instantly firing and generating rage. Whereas UCS, again, marching does nothing for your rage bar. It does nothing for your damage other than counterattack damage. And as you can see, I mean, we're seeing both sides lose some troops here. UCS starting to push the weight around, though. I think that maybe the advantage of numbers is starting to maybe weigh heavily on 1V. More coming from UCS. My goodness, they are just dumping troops into the middle. And I know we're not looking anywhere else, but UCS almost had that Shrine of War away from 1V, but the nice counter attacks from the open field marches holding that Shrine of War for 1V is going to maintain that red. So no building changes as of right now. Let's keep an eye on the middle. Continuing.
Yeah, I mean, if buildings aren't changing hands, then everybody to the middle. Everybody to the middle, right? Who's winning this? It might be UCS.
I see a lot of jumping legionnaires, meaning Trajans, are all over the place inside of this ball of mayhem for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's for some strange reason unpopular among many circles to say Trajan is good, but let's just acknowledge reality. Trajan is good. The other reality we need to acknowledge is that UCS, I think, has already won this fight.
Yeah, it's very blue.
I think this is already over. This mid fight, I think, is already over.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking at the full picture here. UCS has the temple surrounded. UCS also has the field very heavily outnumbered over 1V. I see 1V's marches trying to come around the temple, but I mean the temple has already dropped the Ark of Osiris, and UCS is picking. However, 1V in the middle of everything, grabbing the Ark. How did that happen? Now
love to see a talented Ark carrier doing their thing, baby. 1V grabbed that Ark, but I think it's in vain at this point. Like, I just don't know how they can handle the numbers that UCS has, right?
The fact that they even grabbed it, I thought that was pretty impressive, considering
it sure was.
The amount of red marches that are all, by the way, almost are already dead. I mean, they're so dead. I think there's a march sitting there that's dead that doesn't even show up on the game yet. It hasn't quite deadened enough. So UCS walking away with this Ark, and really kind of handily.
Yeah, I mean, it's a full cleanup of the opposing team, similar to how we saw earlier. Just a one-sided Ark grab where one team is the only one left standing. You know, and that's not always the case. Sometimes Ark battles last for 5 minutes or more. Mm-hmm. That was like, I mean, this was a little longer, like 4 minutes of fighting, right? Maybe 3 minutes of fighting, but then it was decided.
Yeah, if that. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. 4 minutes of fighting. I think it started around 47 minutes. And again, with the exception of that outpost that just flagged blue, each side really has their structures. So, I mean, this is going to be, it's a 2,000-point game right now in favor of 1V because of that strong push, which, speaking of strong push on that Desert Altar top lane, 1V doing it again. Look how heavy the field is in front of that Desert Altar on the top lane. It is going to be red very soon.
Yeah, I mean, but UCS
doing the same.
The sky. Yeah. So, I mean, sure, 1V will do some structure stuff. So is UCS. They're going to do structure stuff too. I think that structures are going to be a push in this game. One side might get 1,000 points here or 1,000 points there, but the arcs determine the winner, which they should. I mean, it's called the Ark of Osiris.
It's not called the structure of the map game Osiris.
It's not the altar of Osiris.
Yeah, exactly. Zenobia
doesn't have the same ring to it, does it?
By the way, it really doesn't. It doesn't roll off the tongue, you know. But yeah, UCS coming over here to defend this structure. Let's see if they can actually get in. Looks like they're doing some decent reinforcement. 1V swarming this structure down. No rally to speak of. And with this many UCS around here, this should stay blue. With more and more of these swarming marches for 1V, losing troops and losing power and ultimately losing damage because of it. But again, we've seen time and time again, it's been so difficult sometimes with this many troops on top of a building to reinforce a building because you just can't click it or slide your army onto it. You just don't know what's getting circled and what's not. But UCS looking pretty good here to defend this, which is a great job.
I think this favors the attackers, honestly. I think the attackers are going to get this. I think we're going to see some sloppy trade-offs now where, like, UCS is going to lose it, but then 1V is going to lose it, and then UCS is going to lose it again just because it's too hard, to your point earlier, to get a captain in there and swap it out.
Yep. You're going to see a Trajan primary garrison pretty soon.
Exactly. And that's not by design. That is not why we're saying Trajan is good, for the record.
He's good at a lot of things, but garrisoning is not one of them. 1V is really good at some stuff too. They took 2 buildings, Shrine of War and Desert Altar, simultaneously on the top lane area and bottom lane area there. So red map coming up from 1V here, taking both of those structures while still losing their Sky Altar on the top lane. A rally and swarm is incoming. An Edward Nebu rally, by the way, on the top lane.
What?
Yeah.
Edward Nebu?
The top lane Sky Altar that's supposed to be for 1V that's currently owned by UCS. An Edward Nebu rally with Swarm trying to take that building back.
What's with all the Edwards we've been seeing? People just using the banana helmet for the memes? What's the...
I really don't think that's it.
Okay. I could have swore maybe that would be it.
I mean, there's always, a thing. But that being said, there's some march speed to Edward. So, mobility in Ark of Osiris is really a critical factor. And not only is it for open field marches, but moving garrison commanders into place and also rallies. I mean, the faster you're rallying, the faster you can put more rallies on the field. And right now, that Sky Altar is going back down in favor of 1V.
Yeah, 1V swarming with their garrison captain. That's Zenobia with Wu Zetian. Viking civilization is the choice there. So they're opting for the 5% attack and 3% counterattack that the Vikings are affording, which I think is a pretty reasonable choice for garrison and Ark of Osiris, especially with such a tanky commander like Zenobia. That counterattack is pretty exciting.
Yeah, and double especially considering, look at this Ark of Osiris up at the top by the obelisk.
Uh-oh.
So many 1V here. Dropping the Ark carrier. This was maybe a little bit of a...
Is this?
I didn't see what was happening thing, and now they're in trouble. Look at this. I mean, it's right beside a building that's owned by UCS, so if they could just pick it up and drop it in the city, they do pick it up.
Wow.
I think they should drop it right now. They have to. They can't let this just...
I don't think it's going to walk away. It's fine. They got to... This is Luke Skywalker on the Death Star attack run. Stay on target. Stay on target. Goodness. You can't cap it before your team is ready.
Down.
Don't freak out.
Don't
freak out. There's no way 1V runs away with this Ark.
Well, they're running away, though, just not with the Ark. Look at the bottom here. I got two players here either forgetting to reinvest their marches back up here or saying, you know what? Chiscool's right. We can't get this. However, they've got the Ark.
What a mistake. That reset the timer. Everybody sees that in the upper left. Timer's been reset. Wow. It's now 15 minutes. So if UCS wants a longer hold on this Ark, they can have it. Oh, I think that's a huge error.
You think that UCS
talk about a pickup for no value whatsoever.
Do you think
no way. Why would you give the opposing team more time?
Do you think UCS baited them to come up here and attack them and try and pick it up to help reset the timer so they could hold it even further? Do you think this was a UCS bait play to actually...
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so, and here's why, man. Because guess who's winning? The structure game.
Yeah, I guess UCS.
It's not. It ain't UCS. So
why don't they just capture it then? Like, why would they take it all the way back to their obelisk if they need these?
Yeah. So I assume they're timing their skills, but they're gonna have to do a 3-arc game if they play structures like this for the rest of the game. I mean, 1V is just crushing the structure game.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look, in the last match we cast, it was pretty even. Little this, little that, trade here, trade there. But this, make no mistake about it, is a 1V structure game. So UCS has to do the Arc game, and they can't be just okay at that. They need to crush that. So I think they need more Arcs.
And they're just sitting there holding it. UCS using a hard push. Tack another positive thing that Trajan does well. Arc, carrier, and holder also in the Trajan column, sitting there holding that Arc. I don't know if that's the right play, but he's doing it, and he's doing it well. But you know what else is being done well is these structures, like you said, by 1V. They are absolutely decimating UCS on the structure game. I mean, having the Shrine of Life and the Sky Altar really being the only buildings to your name besides your starting outposts and obelisks, that's just not enough. It's a 500 point per minute game in favor of 1V, and they're not letting go.
Yeah, I mean, 1V putting down the hammer here and crushing the building points. It's gonna be...
I don't know what UCS is doing right now.
I wonder if they're just sticking to the plan rather than adjusting to the reality. And the reality is that they are in trouble.
What's the plan? I thought the plan was keep your structures, right? I think they're not doing that well.
Yeah, that was the plan, was to probably keep their structures. And so they're just, going to try to take theirs back, take some of the opposing sides. And unless they actually stabilize very quickly, that is not going to work in their favor.
I think, we're starting to see it start to normalize. UCS starting to take their buildings back. The Shrine of War about to look like it's going to go down in favor of UCS, get their building back. But it's going to take a full 2 minutes to get those structures back. Again, both sides using hard push to get their structures. UCS has 15 seconds until their Desert Altar on the top lane is ticking back in their favor again, but at what cost? I mean, they've got the Arc. It's now about a 3,000 point game. So this will even up once UCS takes that arc and captures it. But I think they need more than this. I think more arcs are needed for UCS to win with this kind of a strong push from OneV to own these buildings.
Yeah, so if UCS can stabilize the structure game, and if they think they can continue to stabilize it, then this is okay, right? Like, I think it's easy to underestimate just how long you have to hold structures to really get advantage, right? Because now it's back to 510 to 590, so who cares? It's close enough. It's close enough, right? For this to be a situation where UCS really gets punished, 1V actually needs to hold the structures even longer than what we just saw. I know that sounds a little crazy. That sounds like a tall ask, but it's true. It's, you know, they had 500 points per minute advantage, but only for a couple minutes. And I get that's like 1,000 points every 2 minutes, but if you're going to get ahead, not just even up, you got to get more than that.
Yeah, you do. I agree. I think that UCS is starting to really push the structure game now with rallies and field support. They still have the arc in their pocket. It is a 3,300 point game in favor of 1V right now. And, you know, the points per minute are starting to knot up. 590 for the red team versus 510 for the blue team. So everything's starting to normalize. I think we can all calm down, and, you know, me being one of them, because I was staring at UCS and I'm like, look, the map's red, guys. What's going on? You got the arc. You need to capture it. You need more arcs to win this thing, and you're sitting there holding it with Trajan.
Yeah, I think they're heeding the words of was it Ben Kenobi who says stay on target? Who tells Luke to stay on target? They stuck with their plan, and now they're flipping the table a little bit. They're turning the tide and putting the pressure onto 1V big time.
I mean, maybe now's the time to capture the arc now that, you know, they've got some solid pressure. However, UCS on their Sky Altar on the bottom lane, heavy swarm and rally from 1V against the Jadwiga garrison. This may be enough to take it. It's going to be kind of a back and forth here. Jadwiga taking some heavy swarm damage from 1V, proper rally and proper swarming pairs. Although UCS putting in just enough to keep that thing blue for a little bit.
Yeah, I don't see more calves on their way in. The whole point of using Jadwiga is you can fast cav rain it, and I just don't see fast cav rains coming to help her.
Yeah, I see Saladin, I see Trajan. There's another double C coming in here.
Too little, too late.
It might be late. Yeah, might be just a little late.
Wow, some infantry sneaking their way in at the last second, holding on by a thread. Wow. Sky Altar, boom.
That might be enough.
More calves, boom, holding on. Is Saladin going to get into that garrison too? Maybe they already have a march in there? Hard to say. Wow. I don't know. Wow. The just-in-time arrivals to save that garrison. It ain't over yet, but if that wasn't impressive, wow. Look at that.
Very nice.
What
Very nice
holes.
Defense.
That is some textbook execution of exactly what you need, exactly what you need when you need it, which is the whole game of Ark of Osiris being in the right place at the right time with not too much,
not open
but
yet.
just
Jadwiga
what you need.
died. Jadwiga just died. Saladin garrison.
No
There's
way.
still a rally with Swarm.
No
this
way.
This may still go red. This may still go in favor of 1V,
no
not
way.
giving up.
And that is the problem with Jadwiga. No way to heal. And that is unfortunate for UCS. Caesar, this is not the garrison captain you're looking for in Ark of Osiris League. Season 4. And now they're just dumping troop after troop into there. And they're just getting melted. But look at that. They are arriving. I mean, they're still holding on to this thing.
Wow.
Look at that. They're still going to... With an XY captain, they got the muscle in terms of quantity of troops to just hold on.
Oh, my.
That's crazy.
Rally going by. Cyrus Nebu just saying, hold tight, guys, hold strong. You got this. I'm going to go rally this thing over here.
I love when the rallies just sort of high five and pass each other
Yeah.
downfield. Look at that. That Garrison. You were right that they might have lost it, but they just,
Oh, man, so close.
just the right amount of troops at just the right time to save that structure. Unbelievable. The problem with the Yadviga really coming to the surface there, if you had the healing of a Zenobia, Captain wouldn't have died. When the Captain dies, you got to switch to somebody else. If you don't have somebody to swap to, man, those are problems.
UCS pushing hard and taking, by the way, the Sky Altar on the top lane with more reinforcements coming behind. This may be a UCS held structure for quite some time. Only a minute left to capture this, by the way. 52 seconds left until that starts ticking points for blue team. However, again, 1V taking the Desert Altar and the Shrine of Life in response, and again, very heavily red on the field. So it's kind of a swap. We're going to be over here. You guys be over here. You take one structure. I'll take two. Thanks. And they're, again, still holding this arc. 6.5 minutes left until it respawns.
You know what? I have to say, man, in the last matchup, it felt like both teams were evenly matched in their ability to take structures and hold structures. I do not feel that way in this matchup. I feel like 1V is definitely a tier above UCS for taking and holding structures.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that UCS is holding the arc feels so reminiscent to me of JWM on their way, or was it in the finals, where they held arcs and they really had such a dominant mid fight. It just didn't make sense to me, right? That they would hold the arc at all. And again, all of these teams have advanced further than we did. So we're outsiders looking in, trying to commentate, kind of trying to spectate, trying to advise on, what do we think is happening here? And I just don't quite understand how you can look at this building game and be like, nah, that's cool. We'll just keep holding the arc.
Yeah, I mean, they just lost the Desert Altar again, and we do have a Trajan Garrison sighting on that Desert Altar top lane. Now, in fact, doing some work that way instead. But another Trajan holding and now moving the arc, by the way, from the obelisk area down to the Desert Altar. What? I think somebody hit the attack all button. We need to take a peek at this. The Trajan is now marching with the Ark of Osiris away from the obelisk and coming down to the Desert Altar. This may be a mistake.
Oopsies. Hope they figure it out in the next 2 minutes.
Oh, no.
You mean the
TC.
Desert Altar that keeps flipping over to 1V?
The one that keeps going red nonstop the last 5 minutes.
Uh-oh.
TC.
This guy's really slow.
All.
This is really slow too, right? He's so, it's just like, cruising along.
Knock knock, TC. I need you to not use attack all when you're the arc holder. There you go. Thank you, sir. Turn that puppy back around, saying no. We promised you a trip, but it's not down Desert Altar Lane. It's down to Obelisk Town, and that's where it needs to stay.
Oh, man. That was intense. 6 minutes. No. Sorry. 660 points per minute to 440 points per minute. Wait a minute, Trigothian. Point flip for UCS. Maybe they are right to hold the arc. Look at that. Point swap in favor of UCS here. That's what UCS needs to do.
3,000 point game. I mean, that's not going away with a 50 or 100 point per minute difference.
But this was the first time we've seen UCS do this, and it justifies holding the arc, right? If they can, over the course of the 15 minutes in which they're holding the arc, even up like they're doing right now for occupation score, okay, at least get closer to evening up, then they're on the right track. That is actually a much better situation for them.
If they can continue to hold the Sky Altar along with their own 2 altars, yes, the longer that's going to happen, which they're doing a great job of, by the way, UCS holding the open field, holding that Sky Altar with full reinforcements. 1V trying to come over here and swarm it down. At this point, I think they've already sent a rally or 2 to try and take this thing back, and UCS swarming that rally down pretty effectively. UCS starting to lose some of their troops though here. All the open field marches that they once had there are now gone. I'm looking to see a massive swarm with this Edward rally that's currently on it from 1V. Take this back and start to even up the points per minute again. But it was nice. It was nice for UCS to have those structures. They took their Shrine of War back, by the way, bottom lane. So I think 1V will start to knot this thing back up at 590 apiece, but maybe 5 to 7 minutes of an extra 200 points per minute. That's 1,000, 1,500 points. That kind of cuts that 3,000 point lead, almost in half.
Yeah, I think this was a big deal. This little maneuver, I know it doesn't seem like much, but what just happened is very much kind of the difference between it being okay for UCS to hold the arc versus not okay. Up until UCS started to get ahead on points from buildings for even just a moment in time, up until that happened, I was very concerned for the play they were making. But now that they've done that, it's a reasonable play, right? You can see immediately the scoreboard responding to the reality of what just happened, getting the score closer to like a 2,000 point game.
Mm-hmm.
It's
a lot better.
That's justifying their approach. Now, okay, the Arc Carrier didn't remember to unselect their march when they went to battle earlier. Okay, they escorted it. Yeah. I was like,
good job,
Ian, where's the Arc Carrier?
It was back by the Desert Altar again. Like, is it forbidden to capture it in the obelisk on the blue team? Like, is that a thing? Is that a rule?
Team rule. Must always score the arc in a...
Needs to be at an altar.
Yeah, in a scary location.
Yeah, must be getting assaulted. Otherwise, it's not fair.
Must be worthy of popcorn. Otherwise, why bother? I mean, look, UCS with their recent, in the last 5 minutes, switch in the structure game justifies the plays they've made to this point. And they are practically on cruise control now to win this matchup. Here's what's going to happen, Dragothian. They're going to go to the middle. Both teams have the same amount of points to spend. 1V is going to go to the middle. And if this is at all like the first arc, UCS is going to win. They're going to get the arc. They're going to hold it. They're going to win the game.
I mean, they took so many minutes off the timer here, off the clock, holding that arc, and obviously 1V doing them a favor, resetting that timer to make it even more time.
UV gave them 1V gave them like 6 or 7 minutes back on the clock. I mean, that single pickup by 1V cost them a shocking amount of time. That may have blown their opportunity entirely for a third arc, which I think they might have needed.
It's very possible. Absolutely. Very true. And 1V really pressuring this Desert Altar again, trying to go and take it back again where that the arc was just spawned at. UCS losing all their marches there on the screen where you're currently looking at that Shrine of Life on the bottom lane. Everything on the top lane is basically blinking at this point. People are trying to take some structures before this next arc spawns in 6 minutes. Nobody to the middle just yet. One person on both sides.
6 minutes
playing
and 15.
Around.
Yeah, that'd be a little early to go to the middle.
Well, you just said, how important is this next arc? I mean, it's a tied up match. It's a 900-point game. Currently, both teams have 590 points per minute, so nobody's winning that battle. Are we looking at some insatiable desire skills about to get popped for some provisioning?
No. Oh God, what an error
up for the middle, right?
Yeah. What an error that would be. Yeah. No, every single point has to be in the middle. At the this arc determines the winner. That's my prediction from this moment. The next arc determines the winner. 1V really made their bed for this situation by picking up the arc on the UCS side of the map, resetting the timer, which I think was a potentially tragic mistake, unless all along 1V actually wanted a 2-arc game too. I don't know why you would when you lose the first arc. Maybe they know that they can do better in the middle than they did last time. 5 minutes and nobody's going to the middle, Dragothia?
Sitting here staring at the middle, Chisco. I don't see anybody. I see a Shrine of War getting taken by 1V. That may be the trigger, and just like that, UCS starts to say, don't care about that Shrine of War. Let's go to the middle. I like to see everybody coming into the middle now. There we go. Now people are starting to arrive.
There it
They're like,
is.
hey, there's an arc about to spawn. Maybe we should get to the middle, guys.
Paging 1V. The Ark of Osiris spawns in 4 minutes and 45 seconds. Paging 1V. There they are.
They're on their way to the middle. They're getting there. Just a little slow. Both teams leisurely
Positioning way back.
leisurely strolling to the most important thing that's going to happen
In the next
for
20 minutes.
basically, yeah, the thing that defines their Ark of Osiris League conclusion. I mean,
It's a 2v4 in the middle. Let's go. For a 3,500 point structure that will essentially give somebody a significant advantage going into the final 19 minutes of this matchup. 1V versus UCS, giving us everything that we asked for. Close points per minute, close points on the match, and big fights that UCS won last time. Let's see if 1V can turn that around.
how about this, Dragothian? A more civil approach to the mid fight. I'll send my strongest warrior. You send your strongest warrior. They duke it out, and whoever wins the whole thing.
We're doing this Achilles style. Is that the plan?
It's so much more civil. Suppose that would be less entertaining. Would that be
think
more
UCS would like
entertaining
that.
or less entertaining?
It would be suspenseful, that's for sure, but it would also be over in about 3 minutes. I mean, of course, that's what it was last time.
Dude, yeah, that's how long the last mid fight was. I mean, it was about the same. Both teams looking to have good numbers in the middle. UCS doing exactly what we saw last time. Endless marches to the middle. Endless marches to the middle. 1V also sending tons of marches for as far as the eye can see to the middle. This is the fight that determines which team advances and which team packs up the bat and ball and heads home. I don't know who's going to win this fight. I feel like 1V might be getting some numbers right now on UCS, but if this is anything like the last brawl, this is not going to be good for 1V.
They need everybody. I see both sides pouring in everybody, so this is going to be an exceptional middle fight to watch. I feel like this is going to be one where we need to see who's going to be the aggressor. I think 1V is, you're right, a little bit higher on the numbers now, but if you look behind both sides are just pouring in their troops. Does 1V have the right troop pairings versus what was seemingly a pretty pronounced victory for UCS in the middle during the last fight?
What is the spreading out maneuver that UCS is doing?
Anti-murder ball? Is that the idea? Okay, you got your murder ball all set up. I'm going to go spread out a little bit. So it only works if you have to come to us. Does that make sense? There's no one focus point for them to hit. There's a double C on and playing.
I mean, we've got like an
soldier.
L. We've got like an L formation for. Is it I formation? What do we even call this for UCS?
I mean, it looks like they're playing football and 1V is playing rugby.
Yeah, right. That's exactly right. Whoa, there it is.
The wave.
Well, I have to say the engage by UCS is a little bit better.
1V's going to pull back. Watch. Yep. There we go.
Why are they
just like
pulling back?
last one? Remember what last time we talked about it? It's closer for 1V to there's to the death. It's closer for 1V to reinforce. It's going to delay some of their buffs happening. All the buffs. Just all the buffs. Smash.
Yeah. This is the 10-point buff combo that seems to be consistent as the best possible combination. To the death, war drums, and mystical formation all at the same time. And that is a mid-brawl flashing with skills so fast, I don't know that my screen can keep up.
I mean, I see what's happening on your screen. I'm looking at this and I'm seeing a lot of UCS going back a lot more than 1V, at least right now. Maybe it'll start to even out eventually. I think a lot of the 1V marches that came to the middle were almost all maxed marches, whereas maybe some of the ones from UCS weren't. And 1V is winning this matchup, guys. The stream of blue is pronounced.
Terrifying. That's terrifying.
Pronounced.
Zero
UCS.
dead marches. Zero. Actual zero dead marches for 1V. Actual 0.
And it's a 1,000 point match right now. 15 minutes left to go.
This
440 points per minute for 1V.
This is it. This decides it all. And 1V is just mowing them down. And the Arc Carrier breakaway. Nobody after that double C. See you later.
Bye.
Whoa. Nobody's even making a move.
There's a Trajan trying to come over with about 13 troops inside his march.
He
just
gone.
killed himself.
He's out of
on the
there.
Arc Carrier.
Wow.
So that's how it's done.
Not only did 1V win the Arc brawl, they walked away with that Arc beforehand anyways, so it wasn't going to matter. Holy wow.
I mean, so now 1V has to actually do something. They're sitting there right now. They need to break. They need to break and go after some structures. There's still 14 minutes left in this game. This is a 3,500 point arc, but provisions will play a part. We need to keep an eye on that. We also need to see, does 1V hold this for another 5 minutes? I think they should. Go ahead and hold it at their obelisk for 5 minutes. Call it a day.
This game, I mean, this is 1V's game to lose now. They've got this in the bag. This is their game to lose. Look, the structure game, we know they do very well. They're losing it right now, actually, comedically, but we know they do it very well. If you are in UCS's shoes, you got big problems here. You've got really big problems.
I mean, that's effectively 2,000 points walking away with the way the gap is right now, right, Jisco?
Yeah, this is a problem for UCS. They have to make up points in the structure game, and we know that between these two alliances, they are, I think, the weaker of the two at doing that. So I don't know how they're going to do this.
Yeah, 1V has definitely been pressuring the structure game a lot better, I think, than UCS has, although UCS has had some big wins too. But if they're going to really put themselves in a position to win this match, they need to start that now. There's 13 minutes left. That's plenty of time to go and take a couple structures away from your opponent and start to generate some points. Now, the question is, can they do that while also holding their own structures? 1V already pressuring the Shrine of War on the bottom lane and the Desert Altar on the top lane. They're already there. They're already starting to make their presence felt. This arc is basically just coasting back to the obelisk on the top lane. Definitely going to hold it. 1V looking to defend and attack. UCS doing the same thing, though. Sky Altar top lane getting heavily aggressed by UCS. UCS trying to take this. They know they need big points. Sky Altar is a great way to grab it. Desert Altar on the bottom lane, same thing. UCS aggressing that altar as well. But Zenobia in both structures, very difficult to take down. Looks like 1V might need to have some. You might need to do that paging 1V again because they need some reinforcements in that top Sky Altar. It's about to go down.
Yeah, I mean, this is not over yet. This is a close match. And we don't know who's going to win. What decides who wins from here? Structure game closes the gap. Provisioning closes the gap. And holding all four altars for UCS.
That'll do it.
Gives them some serious cushion for the fact that they are down an arc. I don't know, man. It's not over.
Not over at all. It's right now. It is, what is that? 220 points per minute in favor of UCS. If they can actually capture and start generating some points from all four of these altars, man, we need to start doing some math being the commentators.
This is very, very precarious for 1V. 1V was so busy doing the classic captured the arc victory lap, running around the back of the temple area and going to the Shrine of War and taking it, that they lost not one, but two altars. And this is heating up, not cooling off.
Wow, it's actually turning very blue. Look at the map. It is Shrine of Life.
Shrine of Life.
The only thing they own are the two Shrines of War, and both of those are under assault as well.
Is UCS going to take the whole map?
This is exactly what they needed to do. Looking at the points per minute, again, still 300 points per minute now in favor of UCS. There's 10 minutes left. That's 3,000 points. My math in my head says 3,000 is bigger than 2,000. This is a big deal. This is looking a little rough for 1V now. 1V needs to get these buildings back. They need to take some buildings away from from UCS as well if they want to use this arc effectively.
If you're in 1V, you've got to be panicking right now. This is a nightmare. All 4 altars out of your control and the gap widening between you and your opponent.
Wow.
That cannot be how they dreamed up this would work out after they took the arc.
I mean, it's just so blue. All 4 are blinking. Okay, so going from left to right, the Sky Altar being guarded, by the way, by a Guan Herald, or Guan Alex, excuse me, just got reinforced. So even though it's an Alex Herald rally going up against it, it's going to be enough just because they're just throwing raw troops in there. The second altar on the bottom looks like it's going to finally go back in favor of 1V at some point here very soon. But again, that was about 2 minutes of generating points. So that's 300 points. That's nice. Top lane on the the left one, UCS holding that desert altar with a Zenobia. The swarm, not quite enough just yet from 1V to take that. And then we take to the final right side. Sky Altar eventually is going to go down right now in favor of 1V. But again, 2.5 minutes of point generation has now made this an even game. We've got 1V winning currently by 500 points, 600 points. Hard push being used by UCS now. Interesting choice with 7 minutes and 50 seconds.
Absolutely. Oh, you use hard push, baby. A minute faster capture time. That's the jam right now. That's a minute of points for every structure. Yeah, that's good stuff. Because guess what? Guess who just flipped it right back around? You can take altars, so can we. 1V now looking at 3 altars in their favor.
1 minute until the points start generating for 1V. XY Garrison, not the best, obviously, but they'll switch that up, I'm assuming. Shrine of Life on the bottom, also under duress. Yadwiga Garrison for UCS, that will try and go back for 1V's favor with a rally coming in and Swarm. Looking good to have that turn red, but again, this is anybody's game. I mean, this is basically provisioning now, right? Let's take the structures and let's provision. Now that everybody has their buildings back for the most part, that altar is looking very red at the moment, but UCS coming down to Swarm, that YSS Garrison, 1V might not have enough there, but more coming, Chisco from the bottom to try and reinforce that YSS-like Garrison. Very tanky looking YSS Garrison.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder who the secondary is. Can we peek that? Theodora.
Yep, YSS Theo. Yep.
It's a classic combo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man,
I mean, I think UCS has the numbers here, though, right? Like, they're going to get
really
it. It's just a question of when.
Yeah, how many troops it's going to cost and when.
This is a 100-point game right now.
Yeah, less than 100 point. Now it's 60.
Oh, it's a 20-point game? Oh, my God. This is close.
This is going to be a provisioning / who can hold as much stuff as possible for the longest time. Don't lose your structures. That's what everybody's yelling at you. It's equal. 530 to 530. Wow. It was literally a tied match, exactly to the point for about 4 seconds there.
No clue who's going to win this.
I mean,
could be
I
either
just kind of
team.
want to sit back and watch.
Could be either team. Get your popcorn. This is anybody's game. Drop it into the chat who you think is going to be the victor here. And if you're enjoying this cast of the Ark of Osiris League Final 4 of UCS versus 1V, throw a like on here. Consider subscribing. Whoa! This is unbelievably close.
If you're not enjoying what you're watching right now, I think your fun center is broken because, I mean, this is one of those matches where it's going to come down to the final few minutes. Right now, it is literally less than a 100-point game, and it's going to continue to be that way from what it looks like for quite some time. And then we're going to have to stare at the provisions. I saw some provisioning being done on the 1V side quite a bit. I'm starting to see on the UCS side a lot more provisioners being sent out because they're thinking what I'm thinking, and it's like, just hold our structures. Maybe take a structure if we have the opportunity, but we need to get as many caravans operating at once right now. I see caravans everywhere, blue.
So, what if the game is so close, Dragothian, that you remember that first occupation of the altar at the start that went to 1V?
Yeah.
What if that point swing of 750 points? Because remember, it's a point swing. It's 750 points that 1V got, and that's 750 points they denied UCS. So it's 1,500 points differential by virtue of their taking this thing. I wonder if that's going to be the difference maker.
It could be. I mean, right now it's shaping up to be, there it is. There's some provisions being brought back for 1V early. Now it's a 1,300 point game in favor of 1V. Let's see if they're able to go ahead and maintain that lead, or is UCS, there's some provisions coming in for UCS. It's still a 1,200 point game, but man, 4.5 minutes left. UCS, I see a lot more provisioners out than do I see for 1V. And I think they were out a little earlier, and those little itty bitty bits can make the difference. Although that, I agree, that very first push on that desert altar on the top lane could be the deciding factor. And we might not have even had to have watched this entire match. I mean, as amazing as it is.
Yeah, I think the 1V provisioner trying to not leave us in quite the amount of suspense we were in there. So they opened up the gap here by 1,000 points between these teams. That's a little premature, though, to come home early. Maybe they got attacked. Maybe someone attacked a gatherer, right?
That's true.
And that's what happened. We see Mystical Formation now activated on the right side of the map by the Sky Altar.
I mean, these guys need to keep these buildings.
Everything they
3.5
can do.
minutes left. Yeah, especially an altar. If you lose it, you're going to lose it for at least 2 minutes. And I mean, that's 300 points. That's 300 points. Huge. You cannot lose your structure right now. It's a must-have.
And I don't know. They might lose it. They beat the rally. Rally's down. The swarm, though, is undeniable.
Need to get in.
Interesting captain swap here to a YSS primary. Okay.
I mean, it's tanky. It's super tanky. And
it is.
Is it YSS Theo, though? I'm waiting for the rocks to start falling from the sky. I don't
think it is.
Pretty
sure.
I don't see. Is it YSS Constantine? That can't be it.
I don't know.
Valiant stand being.
Whoa!
And there it goes. UCS took it.
Whoa.
That's a big deal. This is
a big deal. I don't know. That could be enough of a difference maker there, but UCS is still down. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. The UCS provisioners have not come home yet.
Need to find those caravans and bring them home. 2.5 minutes left. There's still plenty of time. But that taking the Sky Altar, if it's a 300 or lesser point game, that was the win right there. That Jadwiga garrison that's about to go back down again. Trajan is now the garrison, and now it's down. Okay, so that's what is that? That's going to be at least 300 points, if not more. Got a minute left to cap it.
It's a big deal. All these little things add up. 2 minutes left. The suspense is in. 700 point game. It's going to come down to who has done better caravanning throughout the match. Has each team committed 2 caravanners? Do they have some other strategy where everybody's caravanning at the same time with a march? Whatever it is, it's going to have to pay off big.
Not only that, I do see 1V committing a couple marches to go and try and kill some troops. Although on the bottom lane at the obelisk for UCS, there's an XY rally or a march kind of walking around there trying to kill some farmers, but that's not actually helping. If he kills them outside of the actual gathering node, the caravan, it basically just moves the troops back faster to the city with the caravan goodies, the provisions in tote. So that's not really helping. You're not killing any provisions by doing that. He needs to go find some caravans that are full of marches, which I don't think is the case. 1V and UCS both calling them back.
Look at that. All those provisioners coming home puts UCS up 2,000 points. 45 seconds remain.
Wow.
Not much time left. If you had a caravan march, it needs to be almost home.
Oh my.
Or it's too late. 2,000 points for UCS.
Coming back for both sides.
What's it going to be?
1V. I don't know if 1V has it.
What's it going to be?
Oh.
1,500 point game.
9 seconds.
1,500 point game. 1,000 point game.
That's
And
it. Did UCS just pull it off?
I think UCS might have pulled this off. MVP from UCS,
There it is.
204 million power. And they did it.
Wow. Look at the provisions.
900 point game, and 1V is definitely wishing they had that second provisioner running. Oof.
Ooh.
Huge. Final score, 38,662 to 37,768. If you found that entertaining, throw a like on here, drop some hype in the chat. Drago, walk us through the scoreboard. What do we need to pay attention to here?
Well, the big glaring thing we just talked about are provisions. I mean, UCS won this game on provisions, even losing their first occupation on their Desert Altar top lane to 1V. That's what kind of helped them get that occupation score where it's at, which is basically 1,200 points. That was basically what 1V got from that first occupation and holding the structure for a few minutes. That was the difference. Otherwise, it was basically even between the two teams on the occupations. So that provision score is proving to be the winning factor. Both teams getting just at or above 70 million kills. Roughly even healed because, again, both of these teams are absolutely massive. It comes down to, really, I mean, do we have to say it? UCS out-provisioned and out-won with provisions on 1V.
So it turns out that joke at the start about calling it the altar of Osiris, perhaps we should have called it the caravan of Osiris. Well played,
Yes.
UCS. If you've enjoyed this live stream, throw a like on here, consider subscribing. Also, links to our own channels in the description for Dragothian and myself. A couple observations before we jump back into the caster's booth is that the total kills are about even. Sev wounds are about even. Units healed are about even. I mean, this came down to the caravans. Let's go to the caster's booth and review some of the other realms real quick before we wrap up for the day. All right, folks, let's get a look here at the schedule. We've got in the finals, UCS versus JST for the Realm of Horus. What a matchup that was, and what an upset that was if you put your Oryx on 1V, which was the community sentiment. Wow. I mean, Dragothian, what do you think about this, man?
I'm still processing what just happened. So UCS
Okay.
obviously coming in clutch with the provisions. I mean, oh my goodness. I saw that arc being taken back by 1V. I saw the 2,000 points that entailed being the victory, 2,000 points for 1V. And I'm like, wow, they just went ahead and took that last arc. They said, okay, this match is mine. And that's it.
I thought they had it.
Yeah, but then UCS decided, well, there's still 10 minutes left, guys. Let's go take some structures. They did that in spades, taking all 4 altars. That was a huge difference maker. I think 1V was ahead heavily in the structure game until that last 4 altar swing for the last 5 minutes or so of the match. That, in combination with almost doubling the provision score of 1V, put the victory in the blue team's hands. Huge shout out to UCS and 1V for giving us a nail biter for the last match before the finals next weekend. Oh my goodness, it's been a day already.
15 UTC is when we'll be casting that next week on this channel, but let's see. In the realm of Anubis, who the finalists will be, it's V636, the former champions, stepping back up to the plate at 15 UTC against PX34. In the realm of Bastet, we've got WIB versus 60 GT. Now, that's a 13 UTC. Dragothian, we might be casting that as well. That seems entirely likely.
That sounds good.
Yeah, we might be casting that 13 UTC. And for the realm of Sobek, we're looking at another 15 UTC matchup. CD70 versus 94 VN. Wow. If you enjoyed this stream, throw a like on here. Consider subscribing. Links to our own channels are again in the description. Dragothian, final thoughts before we close for the day.
No, we've had two great matches today, Chisco. Both matches giving us exactly what we asked for, which was 4 teams duking it out, putting it all out on the field. And we were on the edge of our seats, just like the audience was that was listening and tuning in to the official Rise of Kingdoms channel. So glad that everybody here has been able to join us today. Always a pleasure, Chisco, casting with you. Looking forward to doing the same thing next weekend in the finals of the Season 4 Osiris League Championship.
Oh, yeah, baby. Tune in next week. I wish it was tomorrow. I want more of this. Tune in next week. Ark of Osiris Finals. UCS versus JST in the Realm of Horus. And we'll probably be casting the Realm of Bastet, thankfully at 13 UTC. WIB, exclamation point, versus 60 GT. We'll see you there. Throw a like on here. Consider subscribing. Till next time. See you later, folks. Good luck in your Ark matches.